Hello, good day to everyone. So here we are again for another topic in another class in Java that we will be exploring, and we'll be going to create a program using the what we call as the string class. You may have actually experienced or encountered utilizing the string class because it is a reference data type, and this are used for storing string literals, which is the data type, which is string. But there are actually methods that we can create, and it is very needed for the future topics in Java programming. So we'll be learning about string literals, constructors, the different methods, etc. So an object of the string class, it basically represents a series of characters. So the string class, they belong to the package which is called java.lang. However, java.lang package, we don't need to import that. Okay? It is once you create a Java program, it's already imported, and the package is already imported without explicitly calling or importing the java.lang. So like other classes, since string is a class, they also have constructors and methods that we could use. Unlike other classes, the only class which is string has two operators for concatenation. The plus sign and the plus equal sign. So we can concatenate string literals using those operators. Literal strings, as we have discussed now in our previous videos, they are series of characters, and they are enclosed in double quotes, and they don't have to be constructed. That means they doesn't need to be instantiated using the new keyword. So once you will assign a string literal to a string reference data type, it is already created. Can be assigned to a string variable, of course, can be passed to methods and constructors, just like any other Java object, and have methods that you can call. So these are string examples. So we can actually assign a literal which are enclosed in a double quotes to a string variable. In this case, a string variable called name. So the calling a method on a literal string. So let's say, for example, we'll be using carat, but we'll have a different discussion on this later on. So carat basically will basically return the number of the characters on the character on the specified index. So example, we do have a string here, Robert, and then dot carat. So we are actually calling the method carat. Okay, so it will return to the first initial character variable the yung ano niya, yung the character on the specified index. So basically the index, okay, I will. So the index, of course, in arrays, right? We start also in arrays the index 0 in the first character, and so on and so forth. So the R, ang index niya is 0, and then the O index niya is 1, the B is 2, and so on and so forth. So if we are asking what is the character in the index 0, so it will return the character in index 0, which is in this case, that is the capital letter R or uppercase R. So that will be the one that will be stored in first initial. Okay, so this is also the same. You can actually call the method on using the variable, and then here using the literal string. So these two methods is actually the same. So once created, the string cannot be changed. Okay, none of its methods changes the string. So we call that property of the string class as immutable. So immutable objects are convenient because several references, they can point, no, now we're in, we can point one class, one reference to the same object safely without accidentally changing the object, no, through one reference without the others being aware of the change. So example here, no, we do have two string variables. We have the word one, which refer to the Java string literal, and then word two refers to the word one. So this is the representation of the declaration here. So word one and word two points to the same object. So whatever changes to word 1 will be changed to word 2. So this is basically okay. It uses less memory. So we do have another one, which is word 1 equals to Java string literal, and then word 2 uses the new keyword, and then the parameter of it is the word 1. So in this case, if we are using the new keyword, you are actually creating a new 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 string variable, new string object with the text assigned to the word 1. Okay? So word 1 refers to Java, and then word 2 refers to a different object but with the same text, which is Java. So this basically less efficient because it wastes memory. So ayun na po, you just do not use new keyword, you know. If you want to create string objects, just directly assign it to a string literal. Okay, so example here, less efficient, you need to create a new string and throw away the old one, and then even for small changes. So we do have here string word, which is assigned to Java, and then we want to get the first indexed character in the word, which is upper J, and then we can actually change it to uppercase, and then we assign it to ch. Okay, so word is equal to ch plus word dot substring 1. So basically, the word now refers not the Java na yung smaller case, but it refers now to the uppercase na Java. Yung created na yung firstly assigned na smaller case na Java, kasi bago na yung di ba? It refers to a new word, to a new string literal. And then yung created na string literal na object, it will be removed by the garbage collector. So when we say empty string, we already have defined empty string. No? These are string without any characters. Okay? So this is an example of string. That means the length of it is 0. It is created, but the length of the string is 0. So in order to create an empty string, so you just need to, to write two double quotes without any spaces. Pag may space siya, that means there is a character, which is the space. Okay. So if you will not assign it in a empty string, or any other string literal, so that means, let's say for example, private string error message. So the error message variable is assigned to null. So no argument constructor creates an empty string. So this is rarely used. So let's not make ourselves complicated. No? So just use lang yung without the new keyword. So you can copy constructor, creates a copy of an existing string. So you can use this, same with what we did in our previous example. Using the new, when we say there is a new keyword, you are actually creating a different object of Java, but the same text literal. However, assignment siya, both variables point to the same string. So such like this, word points to Java, and then word 2 assign it to word. So that means both word and word 2 points to Java. So there are other constructors, take an array as a parameter. So pwede array, and then it will automatically create a string. So pwede siya like from a character array like this, letters JAVA, you can actually create a string out of those character array using the new keyword. So we'll be discussing now the methods. First is the length. So the length is will return how many characters in the string, and then the char at, which we have discussed earlier, it will return what is the character in the specified index. Okay, so always remember, as I mentioned earlier, the characters in the string, the index of it always starts with 0. Okay, so for problem.length, so you'll just need to count, for the length, because the length will just return how many characters in the string. So you just the Java interpreter will just count how many characters. So if you will just count manually, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 7 characters. So 7 will be returned to problem.length. Okay. Then we do have window.char@2. So always remember that the index of a string literal always starts with 0. So that means W, ang kanyang character, ang kanyang index is 0. Okay? So according to the method char@2, so we want to know, it will return the character in index 2. So you will just need, the interpreter will just count, starting with 0, which is the character of 0, index 0 is W, and then 0, 1, 2. So that means the character in index 2 is letter N. Next will be the substring. So this will returns a new string by copying characters from an existing string. So string subs is equals to word dot substring ik. So returns the substring of characters in positions from A to K-1. So example, television. So we want to return LEV. So you just need to write I, which is 0, okay, 0, 1, and 2. So that means the value of I should be 2, and then the value of K is 5, because 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, minus 1, okay? So, I to K minus 1. So, kung 2 to 5 siya, that means you will be extracting the substring from index 2 up to index 5 minus 1, which is 4. So, that means LEV. So, index 2, index 3, and index 4. And then, string sub equals to substring. So, kung ano lang siya, isang parameter lang, which is an integer value, it will extract the substring from the entered na index up to the last character. So, let's say, for example, like this. So, television. So, let's say, for example, 2 ito until to the last character. So we do have examples here. So television, that substring 2, 5, that will be left. Immutable, that substring 2, that will be mutable. And then we do have Bob substring 9. If the index specified is non-existent in the string, which is Bob, so that means it will return an empty string. It will not issue an error, but will just return an empty string. So we do have string word 1 equals to re, word 2 equals to think, and then word 3 equals to ing. So these methods or techniques, we call this as concatenation. So when we say concatenation, we want to append one string literal to another string literal and then store it to another variable. So we do have three variables here, word 1 to thre, word 2 to think, word 3 to ing, and then we do have an integer type variable which is 2 ang yung value niya. So string result, you can use plus. So that means you can concatenate the value of word 1, which is re, and then the value of word 2, which is thing. So that is the return string literal is rethink. So that will be assigned to the result. And then we do have another one, you can use the dot concat method. So it's actually the same with the plus sign or plus operator. So you just concatenating or appending word 2 to word 1. So it will still return rethink. And then you can actually concatenate another plus equals, no? So it's actually equivalent to result is equal to result plus word 3. If you can still remember in our looping structures discussion, so we do have this operator which is plus equals. So it is equivalent to result is equal to result plus word 3. So it concatenates word 3 to result. That means that is rethinking. So result plus equals to num, it converts num to string. So if you will be, concatenate as integer type variable, let's say for example, ito na num, it will be assigned to convert it to string explicitly. Okay. So we do have here another example. Okay. We do have an index of method. So the index of method, take note, will return the index of a specified character or a specified substring. Okay? Alright, so we do have here string name, President George Washington. It starts with P. And the character P starts in index 0. And then if we will, if we will be asking for the index of the character P, so it will return what is the index of character P. Okay? Example, index of E. As you notice, yung E, there are a lot of E's. Okay? Nasa 2, it is also in 6, in 11, and in 15. But however, in index of method, it will return the first occurrence of the index of the character. Okay? So the first occurrence of the character is the index 2. So it is first occurrence ng letter E is nasa index 2. So that means the index that will be returned is number 2. And then you can actually also return the index of the substring. Okay? So let's say for example, George, it will return to the first index, to the first character, the index of the first character, George. Okay, just make sure that the entire string is existent on the name string. Okay? So, George, so yung ma-return niya is yung index 10 because George, ang starting niya na index is index 10. We do have an index of wherein there are two parameters. The first parameter is the character and the second parameter is the index where you want to start looking. So, in this case, you need to have E and then the second parameter is 3. So that means the interpreter will start, the compiler will start looking or searching in position 3 or index 3. Dito siya mag-start ng searching. So that means it will not return index 2 because we have defined in the second parameter that it will start searching in index 3. So from there, it will start searching. That means it will return an index 6. And then, if the character or the string is non-existent in the string variable or the string literal, So it will return -1. So not found, please remember that is -1. And then name that last index of, so that is letter E. When we say last index of, that means that is the last occurrence of the specified character. So the specified character is E, and then the last index of is 15. Okay, so Boolean B is equals to, this is equality. So it will just return true if the if the word 1 is actually lexicographically the same with word 2. If it is not the same, it will return false. Okay? We do have also what we call as equals ignore case. Kasi yung equal, yung uppercase A and then lowercase a is different. Okay? If we have discussed it in our previous programming course, the character A is different in uppercase siya and different siya in lowercase. Okay? Example, we have Raiders that equals Raiders also with the same capital letter R, so of course it will return true. We have Raiders capital letter R word 1 that equals Raiders that is a small character R that will return false. And then Raiders that equals ignore case small letter R, so it will return true because the case, uppercase and the lowercase are ignored. Okay? So you can actually use this in a if-else-if statement. Comparisons is actually the same with equality. Compare to method will return the difference, okay, of the two words. So it will return positive, it will return negative if word 1 comes before word 2. And then 0 if word 1 and word 2 are equal, and then positive if word 1 comes after word 2. Example, apple that compared to berry. So in alphabet, A is before B. So that means A has a lesser value than B. Okay, so it will start comparing the first character, A and B first. Okay, so A is lesser than B, so that means it will return a negative difference. We do have zebra. All uppercase characters is lesser than all lower cases. So the zebra, the uppercase yung Z, compared to apple, the lowercase yung A. So since Z is before A, so it will return negative difference. And then zero difference, as I mentioned, pag it is equal in the word 1 and word 2, it will return 0. Pag we also have what we call as compared to ignore case. Usually if you want to know the zero difference, kung equal ba siya, no? Okay, so it will ignore the cases. So with this case, dig na uppercase, and then compared to ignore case na dig then uppercase, lowercase yung word 1, so it will return 0 difference. And then positive difference, let's say bit, no? Bit compared to big. So nag-start siya ng it starts with comparing the first letter, which is B, so that is the same, and then I, so that is the same, and then move to the third character. So since T is after G, okay, so that means it is a positive difference. So we do have the tree method, no? It will return a new string formed from word 1 by removing the white spaces at both ends. So we do have here word 1, meron siyang white space before H and then after B. If you will trim it, no, and then assign it to another string variable, the spaces in both ends are removed. So it will not remove the spaces in between characters. So however, word 2 will be siya yung receive ng trim string literal. But the word 1 will still have spaces in both ends. So we do have replace. So it will just replace the old character to another character. So it is needed siya na dalawa yung dalawang character. So old character on the first parameter and then new character on the second parameter. So example, string word 1 rare, then string word 2 word 1 ba or rare that replace are the old character with the new character. So that means lahat ng R will be replaced with letter D. So, word 2 now will have a value of DADE. But word 1 will remain rare. And then changing case, you just need to use the 2 uppercase if you want to convert the entire string literal into uppercase, and then 2 lowercase if you want to convert the entire string literal to lowercase. So in this case, word 2 and word 3 will be changed, however, word 1 will still be the same. So to convert word 1 to uppercase, so replace the reference with a new reference. Okay? So let's say word 1 is equal to word 1 to uppercase. So that is still acceptable. So a common bug, no, word 1 to uppercase, pag ganyan lang, word 1 will never change. You can assign it to another variable or assign it to a new reference. So we can convert strings, no, from number to strings. We have already converted from string to numbers, right? If you can still remember the parse in method. So in this case, baliktad siya, no? We'll be converting numbers to strings. So you can actually convert numbers by just concatenating the number variable to another string variable, another string literal. Automatic na siya maging string. And then you can actually use toString na method. So integer that toString or double that toString. Just make it sure that yung parameter is integer siya. So yung I must be integer and then D must be integer also. So always remember that in using parseInt or toString na methods, you'll be using the wrapper classes na integer, double, float, wrapper classes. You can also use the value of num. Okay, so that ends our discussion of our string. So we'll be having an example, a practice exercise, no, of our string. So example of practice exercise, we'll be creating a program that will ask for a text with a beginning index and ending index to cut and display the total characters of the entered string and then total characters of the substring and then the actual extracted substring. So let's create a Java application. Let's call it string example 1. Okay. Walang name. Sorry. Alright, so remove that. So since string is in the java.lang, that doesn't need to import. So hindi natin siya kailangan i-import. Okay? So we'll be so let's just use let's just use a scanner class, no? Since scanner is part of the java.util, so we need to implement import scanner. So since we need to input, no, a string, okay, so kailangan natin siya ng scanner. So send that in. Sorry, scanner dapat siya. Okay. Alright, so string text. And then for the substring, string sub. For the number of characters, num1. And then for the substrings. Okay. So we will be asking for a for a text. Enter a text. Okay, so we'll be storing into text. The text entered will be stored in the text, and then sc that next line. We'll just use the next line. Okay, so it is already stored in text, and we'll be asking for an ending index. So let's just change. We need pala ng ending index. So beginning index and ending index. So we'll be asking a and begin index. So begin is equals to sc dot next end. Okay. And then for the, I'll just copy this. For the end index, so what we are actually doing here, we want to enter text and then we want to extract a substring based on the entered text and based also on the parameters needed, which is also entered by the user, the begin index and the end index. Okay, so we will now be extracting the substring using the substring method. So sub is equal to text that substring. So always remember, if you are applying, if you're calling the substring using the text won't have any changes. Okay, so the return value will be returned to the string which is sub. Okay, so the first parameter will be end, and then the the first parameter is the begin, and then the second parameter is the end. And then we need to count also substring. Okay. The second, we'll also need to count the number of characters of the original. So text dot length. So you just need to call length. And then for the num2, which is for the extracted substring. Okay. So we just need to display the, let's display first the original text. So plus copy na natin to. We will display the length. The length of the original text is the num1, and then the length of the substring. We'll display first the substring. The extracted substring is, which is the sub, and then the length of the origin of the substring is the num2. Okay. So we have imported scanner, declared scanner, declared this variables text sub begin and num1 num2, and then we ask the user to input text and then begin index and then an end index, and then we extracted the substring using the parameters and then the existing text, original text, and then we have also determined the length of the original text and then the substring, and then we have printed all of it. Okay, let's try to run. Okay, so we'll be entering a text. Say hello world, hello Philippines. Let's say the begin index will be 5, and then the end index will be, say, 11. Okay, so the original text is hello world, hello Philippines. The length of the original text is 31. The extracted substring is world, wow. And then the length of the substring is 6. Okay? So, um, that is basically how you manipulate string. So, there are actually other um, programs that you can refer on. There are other available YouTube tutorials that you can practice on. Okay, so you can just follow um, the correct calling of the methods of the string and just make sure that the parameters are correct. Okay, so thank you for listening and see you on the next video.